I'm going to have to ignore some of the questions for the next few minutes. Blue team has banned out Morgana, Lee, and Jax. I like those bans. Those are awesome. Purple team, Yasuo, Nasus, and Lucian. Nasus, I'm assuming, is a target ban, or you're just not comfortable at ending the game early. Overall, I'm fine with all these bans. I'm not seeing the, oh, I don't want to face a Kali bans or Blitzcrank bans. I'm more seeing champions that are either really, really frustrating to play against or who scale really, really well currently. So props to you guys for adjusting a little bit. In terms of picks, blue team has picked up a Caitlyn Nami. Good poke lane, yeah. An Evelynn jungle, a Zed mid, and a Mundo top. Don't see Mundo top that often, but it has potential. That's going to be then facing a Tristana Thresh bot lane. What I'm assuming is going to be mid lane Lissandra and then Gragas top, and then a Nocturne jungle. Now, in terms of just general matchups, Evelyn's going to have to survive the early game because she is very easily counter-jungled. Nocturne probably doesn't have enough early strength to counter-jungle her, but could if he gets a really good invade. So that's something for both of those people to consider. I'm a little bit surprised Evelynn running Ignite rather than Flash. Either works, but it's not what I would usually expect to see. It'll work though, I mean, if she plays well. Now, in terms of mid lane, Lissandra has range advantage versus Zed. That lane can go either way, just dependent on how well those people play. I would expect Lissandra to pull ahead early, and then with any ganks or early plays, Zed would snowball a little bit harder than she would. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. Top lane, I would expect Gragas to win early versus Mundo. Again, you have some sustain, you have early poke, you have early burst damage, and Mundo is not very strong early game. Down bot lane, again, it kind of goes over to purple side. I mean, I'm not saying that these people are just going to stomp them, but Tristana Thresh is pretty powerful, and they don't need to win lane. Thresh can provide safety for Tristana, so unless they land like really, really good early bubbles, and I believe I've seen Solus Pizza play Nami before, and he does quite well, but all things being equal, I would expect purple team to either win their lanes or outscale their opponents. The exception to that is Evelynn. Evelynn is always a wild card. You need to really, really play smart versus an Evelynn, or she's going to snowball versus you. She's going to set up her team, and it's going to snowball so well in her team's advantage. So we'll see how this is played, but I would give the early advantage over to purple team. I would give the late game or snowball advantage over to blue team. Now, in terms of team fights, I'm still going to give it over to purple team for late game because of the Trist and because of the Gragas. Both of those are very, very powerful picks right now. They have the Thresh to disengage, they have the Nocturne to dive, they have the Lissandra to make picks for themselves, and they have Lissandra to peel if necessary, or to hard engage if you're that far ahead. I just think there's more options coming out from purple team. In the meantime, we'll see how this goes. I'm going to swap over to the correct display. Thank you so much, Roke, for sending a tweet over in their direction. Hopefully we'll hear back and we can try and work out some partnership with him. Okay, so while we load in, if you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up in chat. I'll try and answer them. In the meantime, I do have a quick PM to answer here, so I might be silent for the next minute or so. Alright, sorry about that. I had a very long PM to answer. We are loaded into the match now. I'll try and get that all set up, and then we'll answer some of the questions that you guys had in chat. Oh my goodness, I'm moving things wrong. Okay, perfect. Everything's lined up. Is Braum a good ban? Braum is actually very, very strong, but not as strong in solo queue. And the reason is because he's team reliant. Braum does not have strong early game kill potential in lane. Think of the strong picks right now. Nami, Thresh, Morgana, Leona, Karma. All of these are very powerful champions as supports because they have kill potential early game. Level 2 engage, level 3 engage, even like pre-6 kill potential, just force feeding their carry. Now, Braum really doesn't do that unless you dive him or do something really stupid. That being said, his late game and his reliability in terms of how he can influence matches is off the chart. He's very, very good, but in a solo queue environment, I just don't think he's that powerful. And I would love for someone to prove me wrong, because I like him as a champion. But if you're talking about like high elo or duoed with an AD carry or like LCS tournament level, he's always going to be disgustingly powerful. Is it giving you a black screen? I apologize for that. OBS really likes to not capture the screen sometimes. I'll fix that. There we go. Thank you for mentioning it before we got too far into the game. So we see pretty standard starts coming out here. Both teams protecting their jungle quite efficiently. I really like seeing that. Are we planning to do a workshop on EU West? We would love to do a workshop on EU, but we need to find a stream partner to do essentially the matchmaking and have some viewer base already on that server. So we're going to try and contact some streamers who play on EU and see if they'd be willing to do like a workshop event with us. Ideally, we'd like to do a North American workshop day and an EU workshop day. We've already added Fridays to our workshops, so hopefully those will continue to go well, and we'll be able to scale up, make some partners, and increase the number of people we get going through the workshop matches. So pretty standard starts from both jungles here. It looks like both junglers are going to kind of leave each other alone. They're not really invading. They're not going to try and kill each other. And that's just it. As I said in the pregame, in order for him to kill Evelynn, he would have to land an incredibly good invade. It's not just like I show up, I get a free kill. Now, I gave early game advantage to pretty much every lane on purple side, so we'll see if they follow through on that. Now, mid lane is really going to boil down to positioning and auto attack harass coming in from Lissandra, and I'm not seeing her do that. I actually see her missing a lot of CS here that would be quite easy to get. Yeah, she's actually dead even with Zed right now. So that should not be happening. So work on your last hitting, work on your positioning, harass ability if you're going to play mid lane Lissandra. That's my main comment there. Greg is trying to push in really hard here. He has the early advantage, as I said, with his sustain, with his poke, with his early burst potential. Just don't see too much happening, though. He's instead opting just to push and farm. Evelynn coming up for the gank. This is actually a really good decision on her part. Greg is just shoving in. He's not going to be able to detect her, so they need to go in. Now, he needs to be positioning more aggressively. Go in, go in, go in, go in, go in. Alright, so you need to be leading the fight there on Mundo. Now, he does follow up with a slow, so I mean, they're probably going to get him forced out of lane. Maybe a flash. Nope, not even a flash. So, that was down onto Mundo. Mundo, you have to lead the fight. You have to walk up and attack them. Now, we're going to rewind and see what set up the fight bot. Good harass coming in from bot lane. The Thresh hook goes in, flays in, not quite into tower range. Barrier coming out from Caitlyn, and is able to pick up the kill. Nice bubble, gets the heal. Really good play on bot lane. That being said, I think purple team could have just sort of repositioned between attacks and between skills and been able to set that fight up. Honestly, just being able to flay slightly closer so that she took tower damage would have been enough. Now, we see bubble not quite connecting. Ooh, sloppy from Caitlyn there. Alright, so I will actually show what she should have done there. Alright, so unfortunately Nami does miss bubble. You need to bubble right here. So Caitlyn goes in with the auto attack, gets tagged by that rather than avoiding it, nets the wrong way, then shoots the wrong way, and gets taken down. So what needed to happen is as he was coming in, dodge below the Duskbringer, I believe it's called, then net Q towards him. If Nami's then able to land a slow, you can return with auto attacks. You still have your flash, you're perfectly safe. Now, back top lane, we see another engage going down. Evelynn just camping this lane. I like her body block. Instead, though, he is able to flash out. Good summoner skill use, though. I really like burning that early and camping this lane because of how he's playing. I also want to compliment her for staying in front of Gragas so that he can't body slam away. Now, back mid lane, we actually see dead even CS still. This should not be happening. On Lissandra, like, you're ranged. You need to be able to abuse that fact and build up an early advantage, and we're not seeing that. Evelynn just farming up her jungle. I would expect her to try and go mid after because, well, Lissandra's pushed up a bit. You might want to wait for him to hit 6, though. It's going to be next minion wave. Yeah, she actually opts to go back to buy, which is probably smart. Oh, of course, as soon as I move away, he gets a kill. Okay, so, taken super low. Why are you staying at this point? He's full health. You can't fight that. Alright, so she hits level 6. Sorry, he hits level 6 and pops Lissandra. That's a very poor decision to stay. Please don't do that. I see a lot of people in lower elo just staying when they have no business being in lane. Nice hook onto Nami. Flay goes down. I'm surprised no E going through. Huntress Donnie, your combo is auto attack, E, auto attack, and it doesn't really influence your cooldowns at all because it just keeps attacking. Now, he knows there's no ward here. This is going to be reliant on Thresh landing a hook. Yeah, Thresh needed to position a little bit more aggressively there. Nice flash coming out, nice summoner skill bait coming out. They do get the Nami flash. Thresh should not have followed up with a hook. That was unwise on his part. I'm sorry, my commentation has been quite poor today. Alright, so Zed coming in. Does not have ult, but does have flash ignite. Nice bubble coming in. Lantern goes through. Doesn't get grabbed, though. Why are you... That was an odd decision to go in 1v3. Like, I understand what you're trying to do, but no. You're not level 6, so you can't ult them. You could have exhausted. But even then, you're in 1v3, not worth it. So yeah, learn your limits and play safe. At that point, bot lane on purple side, all they need to do to win is go even. They don't have to get kills, they don't have to do anything. Now, Evelynn still camping top lane here. Gragas getting level 6. Okay, she gets spotted, waste her ult. You don't want to use your ult to lead fights, especially versus someone who has a reposition like Gragas. So definitely save that next time. Same complaints. You're not farming properly. You need to land those last hits. It's not difficult, right? Like, you need to be confident at last hitting. If you're not, then you need to be practicing that. Now, I do want to compliment, though. 3 pink wards from purple team. Oh my lord. It's so rare to see pink wards in low elo games. That's awesome. Also note, they're covering pretty much every approach to top lane. So that's going to help Gragas out quite a lot. Okay, so they actually reset the buff. Yeah, that's just the low damage coming out from her. It looks like she's opting to go towards a Rod of Ages. There's nothing wrong with Rod of Ages, but why isn't she building a arm guard? You're fighting a Zed, you have to build early armor or you're going to be popped. And if Zed gets ahead, he's going to stay ahead. Also, don't waste your escape to farm. You're probably going to want that. So, in bot lane, just taking a look at farm, a little bit over towards purple side, because there's the 5 Targon stacks on him, and then about 8, 9, 10 on Triss, depending on how pushed the lane is at any one point. So that's not going to make a game-changing difference, but you do have to remember Trist is going to outscale Caitlyn. And that's why I said don't take risks in bot lane. You don't need to. Alright, so they actually do take away that pink ward, replace it with one of their own. Gonna get a little caught out though. Fear goes down. Not a whole lot of damage coming in. Alright. Evelyn's ults have not been very good this game. Only ult if you know you can secure the kill. Like, that's just poor decision making on her part. So that early push and poke advantage on Gragas is showing in the farm. He is up about 13 to 15 CS depending on how pushed the lane is, and is continuing to bully out Mundo fairly regularly. Now Mundo is going to start scaling up though, so it's just on him to survive the lane. And also want to suggest he works on his farming a bit, because it's a little mediocre. He's missing a lot of CS that he shouldn't be. He's not being that heavily pressured. So he needs to be competent at lasting under tower with his champion, and when he's versus someone who has some poke. Alright, also work on your cleavers a little bit. Mundo top only works if you're able to chain cleavers. If not, you're going to have some problems. Nice dive coming in from Evelyn there. Just set up, again, by Lysandre taking too much damage, not having any real defenses, and overstaying. Now I like him taking away some of Evelyn's farm. If he catches Evelyn alone, he could duel her, but it's not really going to be a 100-0 fight for him. Evelyn's going to get feared, and then she's going to run away after. Lizard Elder picked up on Nocturne. I'm assuming Evelyn's going to be picking one up quite soon. So farm has actually gone back to even in bot lane. Caitlyn picking up a few here and there. Now, it's not important right now because she has just taken it, but if you are on blue side in bot lane and you're pushing into lane, you're winning, but you're not necessarily going to be able to get kills, taking away double golems is a very easy way to continue building up a gold advantage or pull yourself back into the game. Can I talk about the items? Sure. So looks like Nami is actually going towards a coin. I personally prefer Frost Queen's Claim because it allows you to hit bubbles easier, and it gives you that little bit of extra CC. I don't like that ult coming in. Very nice hook coming in from Thresh. Lands a lot of damage onto him. The ult's a little late though. You need to hit your ult earlier because it has quite a long activation time in the recent nerfs. Now, Nami tries to bubble, not quite able to. It's taken very, very low. At the end of the day, Evelyn picks up 1 kill for herself. Can she pick up 2? Nami going in very close again. Baits in the Nocturne. Heals just in time. And is going to live. That's a triple kill over to Evelyn. Evelyn is godlike right now. Very, very nice baits. I really want to compliment Nami, knowing her limits, and while it was a little bit on the close side, she only really seemed to be baiting when she had the heal or when she had the bait potential to pull it off. Now, back towards her item builds, I personally prefer Frost Queen's Claim, but there's nothing technically wrong with Talisman. It's fine. Now, on Thresh's side, I actually prefer Talisman. I don't prefer Tarragons. So I don't really prefer either of their item sets here, but at the end of the day, who cares? They're going to be fine. They're going to be effective late game if they're landing their cooldowns and if they're playing well with their team. Now, I would like to just say towards Thresh, he needs to be a little bit more in tune with his team. I noticed that Thresh landed a really nice a hook here, and threw the lantern very nicely. But Nocturne had already ulted in. So what would have been a very flashy, well-done play turned into just them being split focus. So you need to be aware of what your team's doing and reacting accordingly. Mundo taken very, very low and pushed out of lane. CS advantage continues to go over towards that Gragas in top lane. Alright, ult goes down, pulls him in. Okay. I expected her to be able to do something to cancel out that engage. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I really disagree with her item choices. I wish she would have gone for an arm guard, but there's not too much more I can say about that mid lane. it's going to continue going towards Zed. Every time Zed lands an engage, he's pretty much going to get a kill or push her out of lane. Nami a little bit caught out here. Nocturne, though, not paying attention. His ult is not up, though. Again, Thresh is playing this quite well. I have nothing but compliments for how he's positioning and a lot of his combos. That being said, he's not communicating these combos to his team as effectively as he needs to. Again, Nocturne, why are you going up there when they have Caitlyn caught out? I just don't disagree. I strongly disagree with a lot of the communication issues in this. Ooh, Evelynn gets ulted back away, not able to land that, but the cleaver comes through and picks up the kill over for Mundo. Great job getting back into the lane here. He does need to pick up some extra farm, though. I like both teams cleaning out all these pink wards. That's something you oftentimes don't see, especially in low elo games. They just don't notice them or they don't bother to clear them out, and it is a very important thing to do. So we have a little bit of a mid-game slump here, not a whole lot going on. Just junglers off taking over their buffs, laners just start picking up some farm, not a whole lot happening. This is a workshop game. We're here to offer constructive feedback and advice on these players who are in a lower rating, on how they can improve their overall gameplay and approach to the game. So Evelynn has her Hex Drinker now. I actually really like Hex Drinker on her, especially given the amount of magic damage coming out the enemy team. But I would not recommend that she finish that item. I would recommend her going either into a Blade of the Ruin King if she needs extra damage and chase potential, or opting towards more tanky items. Now, I don't like that flash. They already had the Nami ult launched. She could have simply repositioned a little bit to the side and landed about 3 auto attacks and a Q onto Trist, and maybe even been able to land a trap on him during that. Now, Nocturne re-engages, the exhaust goes down onto him. Very nice awareness there from Nami. Caitlyn does not have flash, but has barrier up. Oh, not able to escape from that. Nami now in a very bad position and is going to be taken down. Double kill over to Tristana, very nice job. I like how the game keeps trying to switch between 2 lanes. There's no dragon up on the map, so there's nothing for them to take off of that besides bot tower. So I want to see that done. Now, it looks like mid lane has gone back, so they're instead going to opt to hold their own mid tower. So that's perfectly fine. But I want to see the remaining bot laners shoving in this tower as hard as they can to create some pressure across the map and work on building up a further gold advantage, or pulling themselves back into the game in terms of gold. AYEQ, thank you so much, Sputnik. That's a really great suggestion. I'll have Brian send him a message. Alright, so Evelynn coming back up top again. Walks across a pink ward, though, so not gonna happen. Alright, so Evelynn is actually to the point where she's out-dueling this Nocturne. Nocturne is ulted on, nice disengage coming in from Gragas, but Mundo picks up the kill. Very, very good job. Mundo Cleaver just coming up, clips a minion though instead of Graggy. That being said, they have 3 up here, they should be forcing this tower. Gragas has no ult, there's nothing for him to disengage with. Instead, they opt to go back to their own lanes, which I slightly disagree with, but it's not the end of the world. It's not as though it's a major misplay. I always stream. So it looks like she is picking up her arm guard now. I'm not sure. It looks like she's going for Ninja Tabi as well, which I would not agree with. She needed the early arm guard to survive lane. She's already fallen behind though, so at this point she needs to farm her way back in. So taking away jungle camps, split pushing waves every time Zed roams, push in the tower, do whatever you can to get that gold advantage back in your favor. Now, another pink ward. Looks like they're going to ignore it this time in favor of just taking the quick dragon. They have all the numbers advantages they need down here. Good use of sweeper. Alright, so I want to see a Nami ult. Not the perfect placement, but still well done. Evelynn gets knocked back away. Ult goes down. Teleport coming in from Gragas. Depending on how quickly Gragas gets here, he might be able to turn the fight. Now, Trist. Very good positioning. Thank you for using your jump defensively rather than aggressively. Gragas coming in, has the ult. Purple team is not rejoining, though. Trist needs to be moving back in right now. Throw your ult. Throw your ult. Cancel out this. No, a little bit slow. Okay, so Gragas could have easily cancelled out the Caitlyn ult by using his ult. Now, also, I wish Tristana would be joining for this, because Gragas is tanky. He can tank for a while there, and he has enough CC to set up plays. Instead, though, Tristana opts to back out at 3/4 health. I do not like that decision. I really, really don't. So at the end of the day, that actually does go in blue team's advantage still. And that pretty much boils down to not clearing out that pink, which is what I said needed to happen. Now, Caitlyn's going to be able to siege this down. Not going to be able to take down the tower, though, because Tristan is back. If you're able to PM us, just send us a Twitch message with all the information for who you want us to contact, and we would really appreciate that. Send it out either myself or Felvrick. Alright, so tower advantage over to blue team there. They get that bot. So that evens up the game 2 towers, but there's 10 kills in advantage for blue side. And that pretty much all boils down to this Zed and this Evelynn. And that's what I said was going to happen. If they land their early ganks, if they get ahead, they're going to stay ahead and they're going to carry this game. Alright, Evelynn trying to group up in top. Lands the ult. Gets ulted back away. Ooh, I'm actually surprised she's still taking aggro off that. I suppose it would be from the Lizard Elder. I'm not streaming a random game, I'm streaming League. This is a ranked workshop. Oh, not able to connect on his knock up there. Tristana shows up, lands the kill over onto Evelynn. Good job there. Not going to be able to get Mundo, I don't think, though. Mundo's a little bit too tanky for you. Yeah, going to back out. Lissandra trying to come around from the side. I would not expect this to go through, though, because, well, Gragas has already used his ult. There's a ward there. It would be very awkward if you were to get caught by that. Again, this is a ranked workshop. I already answered your question. So Zed back onto Lissandra. Lissandra does have ult to cancel this out. I'm not sure why she's not using it. Ult right there. Ults herself instead. So she just gave up a free kill. What needed to happen there, and I'm going to rewind so I can show it. Wait a second. There's Lissandra. Okay, so ping the target so that they come in. You've snared him. You walked a little bit too close, though, so you took too much damage. Trist is coming in. You dropped Sight Ward there from Zed. Ult him right now. Ult him, not yourself. And then Q Ignite on top of it. Tristana will clean up. I'm assuming that was a misclick, but that's not how you want to play that fight. In the meantime, though, Nocturne does pick it up. Goes on to Nami. Spell shields, but not going to be enough as the rest of the team has shown up. So I would expect Caitlyn to try and siege this top tower now while Evelynn sieges mid. Really good job just pressing your advantages across the map anywhere you can. Nami ult connecting across all three. Nice work. Nami a little low on mana in this fight, but she should be able to pick things up. Mundo in the middle of it, just sort of tanking things away. Caitlyn quite out of position. I want to see her maintaining proper range so that she's not just getting beat on. Now, Nami Q is up. Q right here. Good job. That's exactly where I said I need to go. But not going to turn into anything. Tristana is back top lane. Evelynn, though, clearing away the pink. I really like this Nami, just constantly bullying them out, poking any way that she can. Yeah, it was very poor positioning from Caitlyn. That's, I think, like the second or third time I've had that same concern with her. So that's really an area that she needs to focus on in her practice. Yeah, Mundo's to the point where he's tanky enough that Gragas, yes, Gragas can poke him down and he can win some fights, but he's not going to be able to just burst him or do anything too crazy. Alright, Nocturne gets a little bit caught out. Nami Bubble not quite able to connect. Very nice hook going in. Again, Lissandra ults herself rather than a target. Generally speaking, you don't want to be ulting yourself on Lissandra. I mean, yes, there are times you will, but usually it's going to be on the enemy team. Alright, so I'm not sure why they're trying to sort of re-engage on this. Just a little bit of split focus here. Zed's trying to go back in. Do not do that, please. He does dodge out of the snare, so good work, but he's going to die soon after. Sloppy play from Zed. I would not want to see that happen. Alright, Caitlyn ult goes through, connects onto connects onto their jungler. Evelynn back in here, and they get their tower. Caitlyn gets hooked again. Yeah. Again, work on your positioning a little bit more. You're just walking into a lot of skills that you don't necessarily need to be hit by. Nice call to take Dragon right as it spawns there. I believe it just spawned. I could be wrong on that. Really good map awareness and map control here. I'm very impressed with this Evelynn and how she's been sort of leading and communicating from what I can tell. Yeah, you see, here we just see the Gragas chase potential, and this is why Gragas is such a beastly top laner right now, because he can just bully you out. Alright, Gragas in here with Nocturne. They actually don't take... There it is. I was going to say, who missmite that? They get the blue. Instead of turning and fighting, though, even though... never mind, the rest of the blue team's collapsing. Yeah, so they're going to get caught out quite heavily. That's Nocturne dead. That's Gragas dead. They need to return back onto Caitlyn, though. Sorry, Caitlyn needs to turn back around here. She's chasing after kill that's already secured, is my concern. Alright, so they do actually ult Evelynn this time, so good job. Nami Bubble connecting very, very nicely. Continuing to move in closer. Snare goes down. That's a very dead Nami. Caitlyn picks up the kill in the meantime. Barrier goes down. Tries to net away, but it's not going to be enough. Ghost Blade activated here by Zed. He's going to pick up that Tristana very quickly. And they're going to then combo onto Thresh. That will probably be game. They just got the ace. They have the people up to push with. Yeah, they're obviously not going to end the game there, but that advantage and the team fight potential they've just demonstrated has pretty much secured the game as far as I'm concerned. Oh, there's the surrender. Okay. So, great job to everyone. Thank you for playing. I'll go over a quick review of items, general playstyles, but I would recommend watching the video back after it's uploaded to YouTube. Make sure that you get some feedback on your advice from there. We'll see if I have another shoutcast run, but I think we might just do like a viewer game to wrap out the day. Okay, so looks like Zed. I actually quite like his item build, except for the double lifesteal. Again, it's not the worst thing you can do. It's just it's a little bit of overload. Like I don't think you need both. That being said, active items are great on Zed because it allows you to combine a larger amount of burst into a shorter period of time during your ult. It also gives him some wave clear, so it's not the end of the world. Evelyn, amazing job. I really liked your playstyle and just map awareness and communication from what I could tell. Your item build is pretty standard, actually. I like it. I mentioned during the game that you might have considered a Blade of the Ruined King if you wanted to go more damage intensive, because you did have a Mundo. That being said, your build was fine. I have no real complaints. Nami, I personally prefer Frost Queen's Claim, but Talisman of Ascension is a fine item. The Home Guard, sorry, not the Home Guard, the Merc Treads seem a little odd, because the only thing they're going to work versus is Lysandra, like her snares, her stun. It's going to work versus Thresh Slow. I don't believe it applies to Hook because... No, it does apply to Hook. Sorry, I'm dumb. Yes, yeah. And then Nocturne Fear. So all of those skills should be used on a priority target, not on a support. So I think that there could be better boot options, such as cooldown boots combined with Talisman of Ascension and Crucible. That would give you 40% CDR as well as another active, slow CC item. But you played quite well. No real concerns. It's just something to keep in mind as another option, another tool in the toolkit. Mundo didn't really get enough farm to finish any other items. He built his core build. That's fine. Caitlyn, I would have suggested finishing up Phantom Dancer before Last Whisper. There's not that much armor on the enemy team. Yeah, I probably would have said finish your Phantom Dancer first, or finish your like Cutlass or Blade of the Ruined King first before Last Whisper. End of the day, though, who cares? You did okay. We had concerns with your positioning and your decision making in a lot of the team fights, so definitely watch that back. Try and practice that in some of your games. Lysandra, I didn't like the Rod of Ages rush. You needed to get the Arm Guard earlier. Then you can still go towards Rod of Ages if you need, but you needed the armor so that you would have stopped Zed snowballing. Once Zed is ahead, you're not going to stop him outside of like ganks or massive outplays. Thresh, I prefer Talisman of Ascension personally, but your build's fine. I would have preferred more CDR though. Actually has no CDR outside of Talisman. Sorry, Face of the Mountain. Cooldown reduction is super powerful on Thresh, because when you hit your hooks, it's reduced by a flat amount of cooldown. So that'd be really useful on him. Hydra on Nocturne, it's fine. Gragas, tanky with an Iceborne Gauntlet, standard. And Tristana going for Infinity Edge Static Shiv. I'm surprised you don't have more items. Definitely work on your farming a little bit more, because you could have been a lot further ahead there, I feel. Overall, great job, everyone. Thank you for participating. I think we're going to do just like a quick view